Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is all about how to get to sleep with animals in your room. I know for a lot of people this is a big issue, and I mean a lot of people have been messaging me saying, what do I do? My pets are basically keeping me awake at night and I don't know what to do, and it can be quite a big issue for a lot of people, so I feel like it's important to address. So hopefully this video will help you if you're having trouble sleeping. I personally only have gerbils and a hamster in my room, so for me it's like, well, I suppose them animals can make a lot of noise, especially in terms of their wheels and digging, and there's just a lot of noise going on, to be honest. And I have had guinea pigs in my room in the past as well, and they honestly can be quite noisy. For the most part, they're actually not too bad compared to these guys because I don't know about you guys, but mine tend to be a lot more settled in the evening and tend to just be sleeping. Although, you know, you can hear them like munching hay and stuff, but nothing too loud, like the wheels go around constantly like with these guys. But I have to say, when I had the guinea pigs in my room, they would literally just chirp. Like, I don't know, this is quite an unusual sound to hear, it's quite rare, but my guinea pigs would just feel the need to chirp in the middle of the night. And yeah, this happened on several occasions. So I don't know what's causing this. There's different opinions about what chirping means. She's just sort of gone into a trance. I mean, I wouldn't say it's a happy thing, but you know, it's not a very common thing. So with the guinea pigs, it wasn't as much of a problem, but I'm gonna be giving you a few tips to help you get to sleep with these guys in your room so it doesn't drive you crazy. So my tip number one is to opt for a good silent wheel. This is probably the most important thing you can do. They just make a lot of noise, do a lot of the wheels on the market. So my two favourite wheels are both by the company Trixie, and they're made of wood, and there's also a plastic one too. So these wheels I find just work so well. They're so much more quiet than the others. They come in large sizes and I just find it easy to get to sleep with. You know, it's never going to be fully silent. You do get like silent spinner wheels, but the wheels still make some like, even if it's a tiny noise, you know, they're not ever completely silent. I know from experience that, because there's always some little background noise going on. So I think, you know, these two wheels, in my experience, have been the best. So my tip number two is to swap water bottles for water bowls. Now this is only if you're a very light sleeper and wake up at the slightest of noises, because a bottle can make quite a lot of noise, especially with guinea pigs. They tend to drink quite a lot. So I find a bowl is just a lot better because, you know, it can be quite noisy at night time when they're drinking loads. They always feel the need to make a lot of noise at night time, I find. So I think using a water bowl is a better alternative. Now I know this isn't an option which is doable for everybody. Cages can be expensive. However, it could make the world of a difference to your sleep. Now hear me out, because what I find is when the animals are in bad cages, they just feel the need to chew on the bars. Like the bars are not there to make them chew, because the bars are there to keep them safe and enclosed and all of that, but they still feel the need to chew on the bars constantly. And I find the bad cages can just be a recipe for disaster. So especially with gerbils and hamsters, they are quite prone to bar chewing, and I just find that if you can eliminate bars altogether, this could actually make a world of a difference to your sleep. So some other alternatives: you don't have to spend much money at all. I mean, I kind of see my cages as a piece of furniture, so that's kind of the way I look at it, but you can get loads of cheap ones on the internet. I've seen, you know, things like aquariums, secondhand aquariums. You can get them so cheap, and that is a really good place to look. You know, websites like Preloved and Gumtree, you may find some really cheap aquariums which could just make a world of a difference, because it also kind of masks any sound. I find, especially with the wood and the glass, those sorts of kind of designs of cages are much better at sort of soundproofing very slightly, whereas if you have a bad cage, you know, everything rattles, they chew it, and it can just be a bit of a nightmare. So if possible, try and find, you know, something like a glass tank or anything, but you don't have to spend much money at all. I mean, even the Zoo Zone is a pretty good cage because it can kind of mask the sound sort of, and there is like no bars for them to chew except from on the top, which you would hope they wouldn't get up there. So yeah, definitely investing in a better cage which does not give them the ability to chew or anything could be a bit of a lifesaver. Now obviously you're not going to be able to completely eliminate background noises, so if it really is an issue for you, then maybe look into things like sleep music, stuff like that. That actually really helped me. There was one point where Sooty was in a bad cage and it was a nightmare to sleep with because the wheel going around was so loud and it was constantly bashing against the wire, and it was just a nightmare to sleep with. Now I know you can still hear his wheel trundling a bit, but that's nothing compared to what it was. And you know, if you are really sensitive to even little things like that, what I'd suggest doing is putting some headphones in, listening to some sleep music. This actually helped me, like so many occasions I would wake up and, you know, realise that I'd actually fall asleep with these headphones in, and it actually really helps. Like it's much more relaxing and sort of helps you block out any background noise. So yeah, like I say, I would use that as a last resort really. I would try and fix the other main issues before going down that route. This last tip mainly applies to guinea pigs because they make so much racket if they're hungry, and you know, they will let you know about it. I can assure you they will let you know about it. If they are hungry or they feel as though they're missing a meal or something like that, they will let you know. So what I would suggest is making sure they have plenty of food for the night. That way they hopefully won't wake you up weaking or anything. I never really found this to be much of an issue because mine, you know, they always had a constant supply of food as they should do. So make sure they have tons of hay for the night. Give them maybe their veg meal of an evening just before you go to bed. So once they've eaten, you know, I tend to find once they've eaten they tend to be a bit more sleepy and they tend to like a nap after that. So maybe you could try that and make sure they've got plenty of food and they're not waking you up just because they're hungry. And yeah, just make sure that they're settled for the night. Sleep is really important, so don't like compromise it. So just to recap, so first of all, pick a good wheel. A wheel is gonna make so much difference. The type of wheel you choose can completely transform your sleep. Swapping out a water bottle for a water bowl. Water bottles can actually be quite noisy and can be quite distracting when you're trying to get to sleep, so perhaps try switching it for a bowl. You may also want to consider moving your animals into a different room if possible. I know for most people this isn't possible because, you know, family members may not be happy about this, but maybe discuss it with them if it really is keeping you awake that much and it's becoming an issue. So obviously I would recommend trying all the other tips before going down that route. Feeding your pets of an evening, it may not even just be useful for guinea pigs, it may also be useful for hamsters and gerbils and other animals. So whatever small animal you have, maybe just try getting into a routine of feeding them just before you go to bed, so you know they're satisfied, there's nothing that they want, they won't be like, you know, looking for their food. Like with guinea pigs, they're probably gonna weak a lot if you haven't fed them, so it just kind of maybe makes a good habit to feed them of an evening if it means they'll hopefully calm down a bit. I know with my guinea pigs it makes a huge difference if they've been fed. They just like to nap after that. Let us know how you best get to sleep with the racket that small animals can make, and I hope this has helped you. So yeah, see you guys soon. Bye.